Bioenergetics for your face. That's just Elliot Haas. Oh, is this a different one though?
So I often talk about how the muscular system is used by the ego to hold back emotion. So
It's fucked up,
over
right?
time, we've been taught that it is inappropriate to feel or to express certain emotions that happen in the body. Emotions are never wrong. They're actually just happening in the body. But whether or not we express them has been, decided by civilization to be either right or wrong.
Do people not remember how much
The fact
comedy is
that
in
they're there,
Jujutsu
and we
Kaisen?
use the
Whenever there
muscular
isn't any
system to
fighting,
hold
there's
those
usually
emotions
jokes.
back. And we create what I've termed
No, but
neurotic
it's
holding
not
patterns. This is
half of the
basically
show
where the
being
ego
jokes.
uses the
What
muscles
point are you
to
making?
hold
What are you
back
talking
your
about?
emotions, and you literally depress
Like 80% of the show is
your
fighting.
vital energies this way. One of the areas that hold the most amount of muscular tension due to holding back or repressing
It is the
emotions
same guy, but he
face.
changed his
And in
name.
the same way that we stretch the body, we strengthen
When does he
the
freak
body
out?
so that we can become a stronger version of ourselves, we got to consider that the face also needs to be considered. We also have to stretch, mobilize, soften.
Does he not
massage
freak out here?
musculature more. So we're stretch the jaw muscles, right? And if you could hold that for a good 30 seconds, a minute longer, stretching it, right? Muscular tension. That's
Yeah, this isn't nearly as fun. He's not shaking his balls. Okay, there's a little something going on.
sounds help break up the muscular tension. Tapping.
There we go. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere.
Squeezing like you saw me do here. This particular area holds a shitload of tension, as well as the temples.
Yeah. He's evolving.
So spend some time practicing this. I'm down here and people like the cars are stopping and watching me. But I just don't give a shit. You have to just not give a shit. You've got to be willing to not always save face, not always be so respectable, to allow the stronger version of yourself that has...
You can also just do it at home. Like, you don't have to be doing it in front of whatever building this is, a museum. You don't have to be in public doing that. Tumblr's $80,000 animation scam. Oh. Tumblr's $80,000 animation scam.
There are a few things that Tumblr users love. Getting upset, relatable one-liners, seasonal Starbucks drinks, I don't know, Thomas Sanders for some
2020?
reason. Also animation.
People still use
Animated
Tumblr in
movies and
2020?
shows are the bread and butter of Tumblr, with shipping blogs, fan art, gift sets, and fandom-related drama filling the site. But what happens when an 18-year-old Tumblr user decides to create her own animated show? Well, what happens is one of Tumblr's largest controversies and a scam that would go on to become infamous. One of the classic staples of Tumblr is the "OMG guys, let's make this into a real thing" posts. We should make Tumblr into a school.
I've watched most of Sam and Nella. He was even on our podcast.
If Dashcon taught us anything, it's that when Tumblr wants to make something into a real thing, don't fucking make the thing. Here's the story of Miss Officer and Mr. Truffles.
Miss Officer and Mr. Truffles, you know they're gonna...
It all started
That just sounded like Tumblr.
National Park in Newfoundland. Constable Suzanne Bourque of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police was interviewing witnesses who had reported multiple bear sightings in the area. Miraculously, one of the bears approached the officer during her investigation, leading to this infamous picture. The image circulated for a while, even being published in the Telegram before it made its way onto Tumblr, as everything inevitably does. The picture was posted in
Thank you to the 20 gift subs, Bear Castle, and the gift sub Brooke.
When it would set
Thank you,
motion
Bear.
the scandal that it became famous
And I'm not sure,
for.
Mormon.
Tumblr user Typet reblogged the post, noting that it would make a great cartoon.
Tumblr's
Days
pretty
later,
much
the
dead
artist
now
Lemon
because of the
Pea
porn
Flower
ban.
reblogged the photo, adding her own drawing of the duo.
Really
and
appreciate it,
christening
Bear.
them
Thank
Miss
you.
Officer and Mr. Truffles. The post gained over 170,000 notes, and a few days later, 3 more drawings would be posted, all in the style of fake animated screen caps. These drawings would gain an insane amount of popularity, especially after the original officer from the photo posted a picture of herself with one of Lemon Tea Flower's
If it didn't end up in a
drawings.
scam, it'd be very wholesome.
YouTube also popularized the characters, gaining over 150,000 views and hundreds of comments begging for a TV show to be made about the two.
Why though? Why? I see this with like everything. This needs to be made. I would watch the ever living shit out of this if it was turned into a show, but why? It's like the most generic idea ever. No fucking chance you would watch the ever-living shit out of it, Fizzbiz. I see this for, like, everything. This needs to be a show, quick! I'd watch every fucking episode 20,000 times!
Aside from this comment, from here on the characters would only grow
Thanks
in
to the resub,
popularity,
yes.
spreading through Tumblr with fan art, animations, and even official merchandise. And then, something terrible happened. They launched a Kickstarter.
Miss Officer and Mr.
I love these
Truffles.
Kickstarter scams.
Oh, the Kickstarter. Where to begin with the Kickstarter? Well, maybe let's begin with their $80,000 asking price for a 7-minute pilot. Now, everyone knows that animation is expensive and takes a long
Wow.
time, but 80 grand for a 7-minute pilot of this quality made by college students is just a little bit ridiculous. I'm not saying an animation like this would be cheap whatsoever, but $80,000 is much
Thanks to
too
give Sim
high of an
Purple Haze.
asking price for a 7-minute internet cartoon. What makes the pricing even more egregious is this pie chart posted on the Kickstarter, which shows how the money will be spent.
What the
And,
fuck is this?
wow. Yeah, that's a lot of merchandise. There's more merchandise than animation. They're doing the old Hasbro technique. After seeing the weird mix of low and highballing on the pie chart and the ludicrous funding goal, many Tumblr users felt that the Kickstarter was at best greedy and at worst suspicious.
I never really
Despite
understood
this,
how
the
that fucking
Kickstarter page
platform
only brought
works.
more attention to the project with pledges
I don't know what
flooding
notes
in
mean.
alongside fan art and messages of support. However, behind the scenes, things weren't looking very good. A Tumblr user by the name of BeesMyGod
He's a
posted
Prime
an
Carp.
expose on the treatment of the show's animators, including a culture of bullying, unprofessionalism, and hypocrisy. Even more damning were the claims that animators hadn't been properly paid, with producers purposely withholding money or
Thanks,
paying
Resub
a
Evan.
fraction of what was promised. At this
Prime
point,
Vikings.
the love and support surrounding the project was beginning to turn to suspicion and mockery. This suspicion led Tumblr user Vororo to email the company Squishables.
Is it even a cool scam, or do they just
and
not
they would be
deliver?
creating a prototype plushie for the Kickstarter as a
Is it as
reward.
goofy as
However,
Dreamworld?
when contacted, Squishables said that they had never heard of the campaign and had never been in contact about the matter. Keep in mind that at this point, Tumblr users were already suspicious of the project due to its high monetary goal and poor treatment of artists, but this really pushed it over the edge. Callouts and hate posts began piling
There's
up,
absolutely
and
cool
animation
scams like
and persuading
Dreamworld
people
that are
to
just a
donate
giant
and
rabbit
slowly
hole of
scammed
goofy
out of their
shit.
money. Officer Suzanne Bork even came to the artist's defense, though her post was vague at best. Lemon Tea Flower's age was also a huge point of contention surrounding the project. After
Just
all,
not
it is
delivered.
extremely
Alright, I'm gonna skip to the
unclear
end
that
then.
A final update to the Kickstarter would be added, promising more content, and after that, radio silence. The last Tumblr update was 6 years ago, with no sign of any TV pictures, webcomics, or merchandise as promised. It's fair to assume that by this point it wasn't really seen as the cute
Thanks to
inside
Prime,
joke
Phaedron,
among
and
Tumblr
Resub
users
Ryan,
that
and
it
Yoshi.
once was. Instead, it had become another source of embarrassment for the site, another failed project turned scam in the same vein of the ARC project or DashCon. Looking back through the tag posts at the project's peak, there was so much love surrounding this project, from piles of fan art to messages of support to pictures of people wearing Miss Officer and Mr. Truffles shirts, which just really haven't aged well. I believe that Lemon Tea Flower goes by another name and works in the animation industry these days, as do a number of animators and artists for Miss Officer and Mr. Truffles.
Well, she got a
While most
nice
of these
influx of
artists have
cash,
been able
though.
to successfully
Good for
cut
her.
ties with the project, I don't think it's
Really
a
fucked
scandal
those
that will
Tumblr
go
people
away
up.
anytime soon. From the project's suspiciously
Rough.
high monetary goal to the creator's disturbing past to the almost incredible 180 in attitude towards the project, Miss Officer and Mr. Truffles will live on as one of Tumblr's biggest scandals. After all, this series exemplifies the classic Tumblr drama cycle. Step
Nice.
1. Innocent, cute, in-joke meme spreads around Tumblr.
Not as much of a rabbit hole as I would have liked to have seen, but it is pretty wild. Easy $80,000 for Miss Officer and Mr. Truffles girl. Whatever her name was. Yeah, I guess it just didn't deliver. It didn't have anything like crazy built up around it. So pretty much every startup or every Kickstarter